Hey guys, I just wanted to show you something really cool here for the holidays. This is a tree that my sister made of superhero ornaments, both Marvel and DC superheroes, and she handmade all of these ornaments herself. That's Spider-Man right there. That's a Green Lantern. I think that's Black Widow right here. And no, she did not use any stencils. She made all of these by hand herself. She just painted the glass balls and did all these herself. That's Robin. This is Batman. I think she told me, like, her idea for Batman here is that, it was a mix between the Tim Burton design and the Frank Miller design for the logo, and that's what she ultimately settled on here for Batman. This is Superman. Looks really good. Very good. I like that shade of blue. This is Iron Man, which looks a lot like either the front of a TIE fighter or Samus in ball mode. But that's Iron Man. It looks really good. That's Thor's hammer right there. And right here we have the Punisher. We have the Punisher on a Christmas tree. That's awesome. I really love the skull, though. Punisher's got one of my favorite superhero logos, so that's really cool. Then we got the Flash. We got the X-Men logo in Wolverine colors. Gotta get Wolverine on there, so that looks really good. Then here's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman! Really like this one, too. She really got the logo down, and I like the stars everywhere. That's the Fantastic Four logo. Looks fantastic. Love that. This is a cool one she did right here. This is the Avengers logo. And then on the back, she put the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo in purple. And I think that looks really good as well. Then there's Captain America, which again, that's a great looking logo. Looks fantastic. This is a cool one. Instead of doing Aquaman, she decided to do Rorschach, and I love this. I love that Rorschach is on a Christmas tree. That's pretty cool. So, much better than Aquaman. I think most of you would agree. And here's Deadpool. Again, another one. Deadpool's on a Christmas tree. I think that's awesome. And I think this is the last one right here. We got the Incredible Hulk, and she got the design for Hulk's face off of the Lego toy. So that's what she did there, and I think it looks really, really good. So, yeah, this is my sister's totally awesome Christmas tree. So yeah, I hope you all like that. My sister really worked hard on those ornaments. I remember when she showed them to me, I was blown away by how good they look. So, I like kind of showing off. I was like, look what my sister did. This looks amazing. It's the nerdiest but most awesome tree in the existence of Christmas. It's amazing. But she says she's gonna make more next year. She's already like taking suggestions, like, oh, I think I want to do Ninja Turtles and maybe Spawn, and maybe I'll add in the JLA logo and things like that. So yeah, she really enjoyed making them, and I can't stress it enough. She made them all without the use of stencils. She did it all just painting on a little glass ball. And there's some other techniques that she used, but I don't know exactly what she did. But yeah, they look amazing. So I just wanted to show them off because it's Christmas time and it's festive time, and her tree is pretty awesome, and I'm sure it looks better than most everybody else's tree. So I just wanted to show that off. But yeah, we got to get into the wrestling, and before I get into my end of the year awards, which I wanted to get into with this video, I do want to talk about the ending to Raw this week as we head into TLC. I'm not going to do a full-fledged preview of TLC because there's not really a whole lot on there besides the main event as far as like generating a large amount of intrigue. And the main event is the bulk of what I want to talk about anyway. The closing segment to Raw this week was awesome because it set up so many things, and so many character clashes made sense, and I was really excited after the ending to Raw this week. It was a very controlled chaos type of setup, and they set up so many good things with Raw this week, and you know, for the future heading out of TLC, and you know, they did that whole sequence where Punk got shoved by Orton, so then he took down Orton, and then Triple H got pissed off and he took down Punk, and then Punk took him out. And then Shawn Michaels was like, don't you hurt my friend, and he super kicked Punk. And then Bryan was like, don't you hurt my friend, and oh, hi, guy that screwed me out of the title. And he kicked Shawn Michaels right in the face. So that whole sequence right there was amazing. And then you get that whole closing segment with John Cena looking down at Orton, standing next to the Authority, and it makes you wonder where they're going to go with there, and what the ending to TLC is going to be. And quite honestly, I'll say it again, I think John Cena should turn heel. I think this is the perfect opportunity to do it. You know, they haven't had the authority badmouth John Cena. John Cena, for the entirety of his run, we, you know, smart marks or whatever, have said he's the corporate boy, he's the guy that Vince handpicked, and his character's an insincere douchebag that just sucks up to the crowd. And he did it on Raw this week. I mean, he talked about how Orton was the chosen one, and I was the guy that, you know, overcame all the odds to become the champion. I'm like, well, that's bullshit, because you were just as much a chosen one as Orton was, if not more so. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're Vince McMahon's test tube baby grown in a lab somewhere, and you were born and bred to be WWE champion for all eternity. And then he went through that whole spiel. It was like, oh, you fans, you all love Daniel Bryan? I love Daniel Bryan too. Hey, he beat me for the title. And guess what? I'm going to give you a rematch right after this pay-per-view when I win the belts. And, oh, CM Punk, you know that guy that you all like? I like him too. I gave him a title shot. No, shuck him up. He beat me too. Oh, God. Wasn't that great? And, oh, Dolph Ziggler? Nobody in this company likes Dolph Ziggler but me. I'm the only one that likes Dolph Ziggler. And I like how my John Cena voice kind of almost breaks into an Adam Sandler type of thing. It's like, whoopity-woo, and zippity-doo-dah, and flippity-flappity-flu, and I make funny noises, because funny noises are funny. But yeah, he kind of went into that whole insincere douchebag spiel, and I'm like, man, if they're turning him heel, oh my God, this was brilliant. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. And he went, I mean, if they actually go and turn Cena heel, which I have my doubts that they will, but for obvious reasons, but if they do, oh my God, he promised Daniel Bryan a title shot, and now he's not going to do it. Perfect! I mean, it's just so perfect. Everything that they mapped out here. And if you turn Cena heel, you've got your anti-establishment, anti-corporate, big WWE image guys in Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. They're your two top faces. And then you've got Cena as the top heel, and you've got Orton as kind of this tragic character that got thrown to the wayside and was just kind of a pawn in the whole thing while Cena was off, getting surgery. It's like, well, we need him as kind of the transitional placeholder champion. He's good enough, but Cena's our guy. And, oh my God, it's just, they could get so much out of this. And the whole exchange between Punk and Bryan and Triple H and Shawn Michaels, there's a big match for you. DX versus, the greatest of all teams, or Yes to the World, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, I would love to see CM Punk and Daniel Bryan take on, Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble over there, because that's kind of what they are, where Fred's like, hey, I'm the product of a bygone era, but I'm cool. And Barney Rubble's like, hey, he's my best friend, and I stick by my buddy no matter what. And if you're not catching that, yes, I am calling Shawn Michaels Barney Rubble. So, but no, I think the match would be really good. I would like to see it, and some people would cry foul because Shawn Michaels retired or whatever. I'm like, I can count on one hand the number of retirement matches that have actually stuck. So, I mean, yeah, retirement matches are bullshit. So, I think that's a big match they could do. And if you're mapping out your WrestleMania matches, you can have Punk and Bryan, have them close out the Royal Rumble. Here's what you do. Triple H is like, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, oops, you drew 1 and 2. Too bad. And then Punk and Bryan kind of fuck them over, and they go the entire match, and it ends with Punk and Bryan closing out the Rumble, and the winner of that exchange gets the title shot and ultimately faces Cena at WrestleMania, and the other one faces Triple H at WrestleMania. So you got, that's 2 big WrestleMania matches right there, with great storylines, great purpose for the characters, great character clash, great heel, because Cena would make a fantastic heel, because, again, it writes itself. He's this insincere corporate douche. Us smart marts have been saying it for years. The character's an insincere prick, and he's a guy who's done everything that the company's told him to do, sucked up to the fans left and right, and there's always been that sizable part of the fan base that just hates John Cena, and it's a heel turn that would practically write itself, and I think they could get a lot out of it, especially heading into WrestleMania 30 and creating a big, meaningful title change where either Daniel Bryan or CM Punk beats John Cena for the title. I think. Your storylines are pretty much set. If you turn Cena heel, you don't even have to try to book WrestleMania. It practically books itself. And I think Cena as the heel, as the odds that need to be overcome, as the villain, the corporate image that we all think he is, would be perfect. I think that would just be the perfect way to go. And they've crafted this whole situation here that is just perfect for it. This is not a case of where they've been handed something awesome on a silver platter. They made the silver platter that this little candy-coated bit of awesomeness is sitting on. And I think it would be a mistake not to capitalize on it. I think it's like, no, they need to turn Cena heel. This is just, have him win. He wins at TLC, turns heel, becomes the corporate champion, and then everything for WrestleMania pretty much falls into place right there. So, I mean, there's so many things. Again, it could lead to Shawn Michaels in-ring return and getting a big match with Bryan, or a big match with Punk, or, the tag match with Punk and Bryan versus Triple H and HBK. There's so many things that they could do with this, and I think it would be a mistake to kind of miss the boat here. That said, I'm doubtful that they're going to do it. I think Orton's going to, screw his way, through some screwiness. The Authority's going to screw over Cena, and Sheamus will probably... for some reason, I have it in my head that Sheamus is going to turn heel and feud with Cena, which nobody wants. Just go with what's natural. Go with the one that's the most creatively and dramatically interesting. And if you ask me to book TLC, that's exactly what I would do. Turn Cena heel, and then your road to WrestleMania is pretty much set in stone. Now, the other part of this video that also stems from what happened on Raw this week are my personal picks for the End of the Year awards. Of course, WWE did the Slammy Awards this week on Raw, and personally, I don't put a whole lot of stock into the Slammy Awards. I think they're bullshit. And I usually don't really care all that much, but at the end of the day, when you look back and reflect on the year in wrestling, and you pick your favorite things that happened this year and the things that really stood out to you, that is fun to talk about, so I thought I would do that here. And I don't have a ton of categories. There's no, awesome moment of the year or LOL moment of the year, which I love how sometimes WWE just puts it out there how brazen they are with their uncreative nature is for something as simple as just naming things. My favorite thing, funny story, a friend of mine watched Total Divas, the first episode with his wife, and he said the first episode, it opens up with the Bella Twins introducing who they are, and the one that's with Bryan said, "Hello, my name is Brie Bella. I'm dating Bryan Danielson, whose WWE wrestler name is Daniel Bryan," or something like that. And he said that his wife turned to him and said, "Are you fucking kidding?" I was like, for his wrestler name, they basically just switched his names. And she's like, how uncreative can you be? I just think that's funny. And that's what happens when, outsiders look in and kind of see what's going on. But anyway, I just think it's funny how brazen they are with their uncreativeness sometimes. But for my End of the Year awards, it's just 3 categories, 3 simple things I want to talk about. It'll be Pay-Per-View of the Year, Match of the Year, and Superstar of the Year. Definitely wanted, those are the 3 categories. I think those are the most important, so I thought I would cover those. With Pay-Per-View of the Year, that was an easy one to pick, to be perfectly honest, because there was really only one show this year that I felt truly deserved it. And there were a couple of other good shows, like Payback was good, except for the main event, and Money in the Bank was good for the most part. WrestleMania, I was there live, so the live experience was great. I don't think it was a great show, though. The ROH show that I was at the night before, Supercard of Honor, I thought that was a very good show, very, hard effort from all the guys involved. But looking through it all, I think the one that I would pick to be pay-per-view of the year, without question, is SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam was by far the best pay-per-view I saw this year, and it really comes down to the fact that they had 2 epic main events that were built up, promoted and handled so well, and then the execution was fantastic, and both matches absolutely delivered. And the rest of the show was fine, too. I mean, sure, the Inferno match between Kane and Bray Wyatt was a little shitty, but Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes, they had a solid match. You got the mixed tag, that was also good. Del Rio and Christian had a solid match, even though nobody cares about their world title. But really what it came down to was those 2 main events. Lesnar and Punk absolutely tore it down. Absolutely amazing match. And then you had that heart-stopping main event where Daniel Bryan beat John Cena clean to win the WWE title, only to have it stolen from him with that great ending. So I think all around, I think SummerSlam is by far the best pay-per-view of the year, without question. I didn't even have to think too hard about that one. Then we have Match of the Year. And for this one, There were quite a few options, a bit more than pay-per-view of the year as far as picking my selections. Undertaker and Punk, again, I was there live for that one, and that was a pretty amazing match to witness live. Lethal and Elgin from the Supercard of Honor show I thought was very good. Trying to think, what were some other ones? I guess Punk and Cena on the Raw leading into WrestleMania, the Contenders match, was very good. A lot of the Shield matches, I mean, it feels like the Shield have awesome matches every single week. Their match with Cody and Goldust at Battleground, which was nominated, was probably my favorite match that they had this year. Again, because of the storyline and the stakes and everything that went into making that match happen, and the execution was great. So, pretty much you could pick pretty much any six-man tag or tag team Shield match, and you can't go wrong because they were all pretty awesome. But I'm trying to... Are there any TNA ones? I can't really think. I guess Angle and Rude from Bound for Glory, but again, it's like nothing... Not a whole lot really stood out from TNA this year. I mean, they've got so many problems. But, I've got two picks for Match of the Year, and it's the two matches I already praised. So it'll be a tie. It'll be CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and Daniel Bryan versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Those, to me, are two perfect examples of how to build major matches and how to execute major matches. Both of those were stupendous, absolutely amazing matches for different reasons. Punk and Lesnar had kind of the more hard-hitting, it was a hardcore, no disqualifications match, so it was more of just a wild brawl. And Daniel Bryan versus John Cena was the more emotional, just a fever pitch match where you really were invested in Daniel Bryan beating John Cena for the title. At least I was. I mean, all I know is that when he was kicking Cena, I wasn't chanting yes. I was chanting, "Fuck you! Fuck you!" At the TV. Because obviously I hate Cena. Again, he's a perfect heel. I don't know why you wouldn't run with that. But both of those matches were absolutely amazing. If you picked one of those for Match of the Year, I would not contradict you. It was just, those to me were the two best matches of the year. If you twisted my arm and forced me to pick one over the other, I would probably lean more towards Punk and Lesnar because I liked their clash of styles more. And the match to me was just very, very creative in the stuff that they did in the match. But either one of those matches is a clear-cut number one. So again, you could pick either one of those and it'd be totally fine. And then we move into Superstar of the Year, which, again, not a very hard selection for me, for the most part. I mean, you have your options, If you look at TNA, you probably got, like, Bully Ray, who carried the product through the dredges, and AJ Styles, who was the character they put the most into, for sure. CM Punk is always a solid choice. I guess the Shield, if you want to, like, all three members of the Shield deserve recognition. But to me, Superstar of the Year should be, and this is where I kind of break from the IWC a little bit. To me, Superstar of the Year should not just be the guy that had the most 4-star matches or 5-star matches or whatever, and you just tally up that number at the end of the year, and the winner of that is Superstar of the Year. To me, it should be the guy that means the most to the product, both. Is the sum of both the in-ring and what he means to the overall product as a character and within the storylines. I think it was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was PWI, they voted Dean Malenko Superstar of the Year for 1997, or Wrestler of the Year or whatever. And I was like, seriously? I mean, yeah, he has great matches, and yes, the Cruiserweight division is better for having him there because he's able to get a great match out of just about anybody. But as far as, like, being the key component that, made WCW awesome in 97, I don't think he's that guy. I don't think... It's kind of... I feel the same way about the MVP in the NFL, where they kind of just... Too many times they just kind of look at the stats and go like, that guy's MVP. Where to me, I think the key word there is value. How valuable is that player to his team? And, how much did he contribute to their success? Like, Adrian Peterson winning MVP last year, totally legitimate, because he took that team on his back and carried them to the playoffs. I guarantee you, without AP, they wouldn't have won more than 2 games. It's just, he was basically the whole team, and totally deserved to be the MVP. And stats didn't have as much to do with it as much as it was just him, going into boss mode and just carrying the whole fucking team on his back. And that's kind of how I feel about wrestling, except wrestling's more entertainment-based, so you got to look at the factors where they contribute, and that's both in-ring and their athletics, and as a character and as a component in the storylines. Now the opposite side of Dean Malenko would be Sting. Would I say that Sting should have been Superstar of the Year in 1997? No, because he didn't wrestle. So even though he was the most interesting character and he was very important to the product, he didn't wrestle, and I think that that's kind of that's a key thing that can't be overlooked. So personally, if I were going to pick a Wrestler of the Year in 1997, I would have picked Bret, but that's just me. So yeah, and I think the guy that did that for wrestling this year, not just the WWE, but wrestling as a whole, to me, that guy was Daniel Bryan. For years, Daniel Bryan was always praised as the work rate guy. He was always the guy that would go out there, be a great athlete, have the best matches, and yada yada yada. He'd be that guy. But I always said if he's going to be a main eventer, they have to find something that'll help him click with the audience and craft something dramatically interesting for him to really put him on that level. And they did. That's exactly what they did. They made him the most sympathetic character on the show, and it started with the whole weakest link storyline where he felt like he was being blamed for the lack of success of Team Hell No, and he felt like he was being looked down on, accused of being the weakest link. So he came forward and proved himself. And that ultimately led to him winning the championship and being the major component in many key storylines, in addition to having great matches all the time, because that's what Daniel Bryan does. Actually, another, one of my more favorite matches of the year was the match he had with Orton on Raw to conclude the weakest link storyline. I thought that was a great payoff to that whole thing. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, Daniel Bryan is just this scrappy underdog that it's easy to root for him. It's easy to sympathize with him, especially when you have the company screwing him over. And he's just a great character. I call it the Mick Foley effect. Mick Foley was my favorite character in the Attitude Era because he was the most sympathetic. And he was the one that I kind of was like, oh gosh darn it, I want him to win because he's been screwed over so many times. And Daniel Bryan certainly has that appeal, and he's been, to me, the key component in WWE storylines this year. And of course they gave him Superstar of the Year on Raw this week, and whether or not the fans voted for it, although I'm pretty sure they did, that's when you question the legitimacy of the voting. I'm pretty sure the fans went with Bryan on that one, just a guess. But whether the voting's legitimate or not, he's the one that deserved it. So that was absolutely the right call there. So those are my end of the year awards. Pay-per-view of the year, SummerSlam 2013. Match of the year, CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, with Cena and Daniel Bryan being an immediate close runner-up. We'll say that. And then my Superstar of the year is Daniel Bryan. So those are my picks for the end of the year. I'm not doing any worst ofs. I know that would be funny to do, but I don't really have time, and I don't really feel like going into it, to be perfectly honest. But that's all I have for now, and I will see you all next week for my final video of 2013.